What is up, everybody? This is Brent Brookhouse. I am here with All Ego Ethan Page. It's a Bitter Boys Club post-WrestleMania weekend edition. We've got a lot to talk about, tons of questions, so let's get this thing rolling. How you doing, man?
Let's do it. I'm great. Another week in as a dad, which is awesome because now I'm home and I actually get to see my kids, so it's fantastic.
So you're slotting into the everyday role. Nice now that you've been back from Japan and done with WrestleMania weekend. Everything's settling down now.
It's honestly the best. I was honestly a little nervous that when I'd come home, they'd already be set in a routine that I would be essentially useless. But turns out I'm not useless.
That's always good to find out you're not useless.
Yeah.
So coming off a pretty big weekend, how did everything go for you?
Well, essentially it turned into craziness, but started off as one show. I was actually only supposed to appear for CZW, and that spiraled into not sleeping for 3 days.
Yeah,
which was great.
So, I mean, it was CZW, it was Joey Janela's Spring Break, you did Progress, and you were recording the High Spots show throughout the whole weekend, so that seems like a pretty full schedule out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. Like, ironically, the last thing I did was the CCW show. So I ended up going there on Thursday night. I left as late as I could to get there for Friday morning because I told AIW that I would do their booth at WrestleCon. So I got to WrestleCon, did the booth for, I don't know, maybe like an hour and a half. And the Young Bucks had such a long line, they needed to snake it around in front of all of the other people's tables. So nobody could even come up to, like, my table, Pro Wrestling Tees table, Colt Cabana's table, the AIW table, the CZW table. It was all covered by people waiting in line for the Young Bucks. So I tapped out early, made my $100 and left. And I was like, well, I'm going to start filming these High Spots shows. So I had a couple guys in the queue, potentially, because there's so many there's nobody just sitting around. Nobody was like, I have nothing to do, I would love to do this show. It was, yeah, I have this show at this time, I'm only free at this time. So it was like a math and science project to try and get wrestlers, never mind two, because I prefer to have two guys on. It just makes it a lot easier to shoot the shit with friends. And the show is called Egos Amigos, suggested by a fan. Hopefully listen to other podcasts so I can tell them thank you very much for that awesome name. But it was impossible to actually find time to get people on the show, and they wanted me to film as much as possible. There was no limitation to how many episodes we filmed.
All right. And you got, was it 3 that you got in?
4. The first one I filmed was with Eddie Kingston, which was a train wreck, but I guess a good enough train wreck that High Spots was excited, and that's when they told me to film as many as I could. The next one was with the Besties in the World, which started off like a low-key interview and just got derailed by the craziest sex story ever told by Matt Fitchett for no apparent reason. And then the next one we filmed was MJF and Ricky Shane Page, which was, I think, my favorite of them, of all 4. And the final one was with Hornswoggle, which I don't even... Man, that guy's out of control. I have no idea when it's going to be released, but watch it. Don't judge me. Just embrace whatever animal that Hornswoggle decided to become that day.
All right, rewinding a little bit,
Sure.
The Kingston one being a train wreck. How was that a train wreck?
Because it's Eddie Kingston. And I would ask him a question, and 10 seconds later, we'd be on a completely different subject, and he'd be yelling at the screen.
Ah, that's not so bad.
No. It's a train wreck in a good way. And I think that's what these things are all meant to be. Essentially, you're just trying to entertain someone. The only expectation High Spots had of me was that every one of them was close to or around 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the sweet spot. When we were doing the ones for Flow Slam, I was trying for about an hour, but yeah, I'd say 60 to 90 minutes is ideal. And I do, last year when I was down, just trying to get guys to somehow in their schedule fit in like 5 to 10 minutes to step aside and record little promo videos was really difficult. So finding 90 minutes with people had to have been fairly difficult.
Yeah, and everyone's getting paid. So, like, people had incentive to do it, and it was still extremely tough.
All right, so you're down there, you're doing all that. How does the spring break thing come about?
So I was always booked to do spring break, but never announced.
Okay, I mean, I assumed you were going to be in the clusterfuck. Like, that was just an easy assumption to make.
It wasn't, well, I say I was always booked, but it was in the talks, but it wasn't until the week of that they confirmed it with me and figured out all the travel, like splitting it and all that stuff. It was a nightmare. It was exactly what the match was called, a clusterfuck. And exactly like last year, I was strong-armed into agenting this whole thing, which is like a nightmare in itself, and I was completely underpaid. I should have got 3 times my wage to deal with what I dealt with.
All right, you got to get into some details now.
Okay, imagine telling Dan Severn he has to have a stare down with Alabama Doink.
Okay.
The promoter isn't doing it. The promoter gave me a list of people and a list of requests, and I had to make sure that those were all put in the match that made sense, that stuck to the time, and made sure that, like, dude, you don't understand how. Okay, so there was 2 guys there from DTU, so they're from Mexico. They speak terrible English. I speak terrible Mexican or Spanish. I cannot believe I just said that.
Yeah, wow.
I speak terrible Spanish. So there's no communication. Now, we have a planned spot with Bryce Remsburg in the back half of the show, or the match, sorry. And one of the guys from DTU starts suggesting that he wants to do a spot with the referee where he hip tosses everybody, and then the ref hip tosses him, and he says in English, he says, very funny spot in Mexico. And I had to tell him, because I'm agenting this match, we're not doing that because we have a referee spot later on, and if we involve him too early, we might not get a bigger reaction in the end. So I am the asshole telling people you're doing too much. This match needs to not be that long. Cut that spot out. Don't do this. You're not allowed to do this. This doesn't make sense. So, yeah, it's was not a good position to be in, although there was a lot of wrestlers that appreciated it because it's not a headache that they have to deal with. And to get 23 wrestlers all together in a match that makes sense, that was another science project.
And I mean, you at least have the, I guess, lack of restriction in terms of it's not like you have to worry about people coming out at regular intervals. You can just run them out there however often you need. But
I decided, because last year was a mess. So last year there was no times. It was literally there was a sheet written down with the end of everybody's spot. So like a guy comes out, he runs a spot, and it ends with this. Well, some guys had a 30-second spot, and then some guys had a singles match, and the last thing, it was 5 fucking minutes later, and then they're like, what the fuck, why is this match so long? So, this is the crazy thing. Last year, there was half as many people in the match, and it was the same amount of length as the one this year.
Yeah, I mean, this one definitely felt longer, but I kind of chalk that up to the fact that I wasn't there, so there wasn't kind of the in the building bump that you get in terms of energy. You know, I'm just dying on my couch wanting to go to sleep, but also wanting to get through the show. So
Right,
I think that's why it felt longer, but
I had people tell me that it felt less long than last year's, because there was like, oh wow, this person's here, oh that's exciting, and that it was actually relatively put together and moved fairly quickly. Man, that's not next year. Not doing it. I'm saying it right now. You could not pay me enough to do that again.
I think they could pay you enough to do it.
They haven't. They have not. So prove me wrong, please.
So, yeah, you went through that. What was let's do this, because I think this is going to be one of the things people want to hear about the most is the clusterfuck, just because that show obviously has become a thing. So
you mean has become? It is a thing.
Well, yeah, but I just mean it's now one of the biggest things that happens down at WrestleMania weekend. So
there was almost 3,000 people there.
Yeah. So what was the most difficult thing to figure out in terms of a single moment when you're putting that together?
The eliminations.
Okay, but I'm asking for more specific. Is there a single elimination that's most complicated to...
I guess the finish, because they specifically wanted. There's so much stuff I could talk about in this match, man.
The more you want to talk about this match, the better it's going to be for us.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. They specifically wanted myself, MJF, Mikey Whipwreck, and oh my god, Nate Webb to be the last four, and they wanted it to be like a tag match. See, the thing that was annoying about it was they expected so much out of this match and wanted it to be 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of
unrealistic.
Yeah,
that's unrealistic expectations.
Well, and
that's like,
and don't get me wrong, I love Nate Webb. I have, as a old school IWA Mid-South fan, I have very strong Nate Webb feelings. But it's a little hard to put together a 20-minute match when a good 5 minutes of it is Nate Webb, in the crowd for his entrance.
Yep. And how do you not give him that moment?
Right, because that's one of the best moments of the match is the Nate Webb entrance. But that leaves you with 15 minutes to get in, 20, 24 people just walking to the ring, which is going to take at least 30 seconds apiece. So,
dude, it's like the most unrealistic expectation ever, and then it's all put on me because I'm the one that they asked to put the match together. Yeah. So, and I'll get no credit for it at all, like none, because like people they do not understand the mental process of dealing with 22 other egos in a match with 3,000 people out there. Essentially, one person in that room has to tell 22 other people that they're not allowed to do one of or more than one of the things that they want to do in front of probably the biggest crowd 90% of the people in the match have wrestled in front of.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest, if not, easily top 5 for pretty much everybody in there.
So I'm the asshole that's saying, no, you're not allowed to do that in front of 3,000 people.
Right. And to everybody, it probably seems like I'm asking you for 30 seconds.
Yeah. And
but 30 seconds across 24 people, and
they don't care.
You're
They
at
don't
12
care.
minutes.
They don't care. What's my spot? And like that, and dude, oh my god, I wanted to tell people to shut the fuck up so many times. So I'll set the stage, and it was a locker room with 90% of the people in the match all sitting there, literally staring at me, waiting for me to tell them what's going to happen. I'm sitting in a chair with my phone, writing down exactly what is happening in order, who enters, changing the entrance numbers to make more sense, logistically putting it together so that, I decided who came out when and why. At one point, D'Lo Brown was in the match, but that didn't happen. What else? Like I said, trying to tell Dan Severn that he has to have a stare down with Alabama Doink, and also telling Dan Severn he needs to get eliminated. That was another one. Not that he was hard to deal with, but I mean, fucking Dan Severn. Telling people they're not allowed to do stuff. Marcus Crane was supposed to. It was in my notes. Make Marcus Crane look good, and on his shine. So I'm in the back. So not only am I in the match and requested to be in the final four, which also makes me look like an asshole when I'm telling people not to do stuff, and I'm the one in the match essentially for a really long time and a focal point. So Marcus Crane was supposed to be featured very well, and on his essentially entrance and shine spot, I guess he slipped, and Chris Dickinson powerbombed him and then just threw him out.
Yep.
Is that what happened?
Pretty much.
So he came to the back, and I go, what the fuck just happened? Why are you here? Because he was supposed to be there a lot longer. And he goes, yeah, man, and just kept walking.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so that might come down on me, too.
Well, I mean, only so much you can do. Not that anybody gives a shit. Like,
yeah, man. Ugh, such a mess. And, to give myself credit, I was asked to be in the final, I was supposed to be the one that gets pinned by the Invisible Man, or at least that's what Brett Lauderdale pitched. And then again, there's 5 people telling me different things that they want. There's Janela, there's Giancarlo, the video guy, there's Brett Lauderdale, then there's like Jimmy Lloyd just running around telling me, hey, I heard this. So that was also fucking confusing. But yeah, so I was supposed to be in the final 2. I win, I get schoolboyed by the Invisible Man. But in like the pre-production thing, the meeting, I guess, I wanted MJF to do it just because, I don't know, I didn't need that moment. He can have that. I'm a selfless guy. MJF is the future. I'm an old dog. Don't need no new tricks, you know. But I also just wanted to get the fuck out of the ring. But I will say, I wanted to slap MJF. So I don't know if you catch it on the camera or where they're filming and stuff like that. But we lose the match. So I run back to try and break up the pin on the Invisible Man. We're in the ring. I pitched the idea for Nate Webb to raise the Invisible Man's arm because I thought that would be fucking hilarious. Like a picture of that would be so good. So that's happening. MJF comes over to me and he goes, hey, let's go to shake each other's hands after the match, then try and kick each other in the dick, catch it, then slowly drop it, and then shake hands. And I was like, no, let the Invisible Man have his moment. I don't know. He probably got real mad at me for that, and for telling the story, but
oh well.
Whatever, MJF. Deal with it.
Okay, so how does Progress come together then?
Sadly, heartbreaking enough, it was because Darby Allin got injured. And not that I am happy I gained off of a friend of mine's injury, but obviously I was very happy for the opportunity to wrestle for Progress.
Okay, so it just, once Darby was out, you just got the call? Was it...
So Darby was out. They actually asked Eddie Kingston first. They asked Eddie Kingston if he was willing to do the show, and he was unable to do it because he had pancakes and pile drivers. And I was with Eddie when he got the message, and I was like, "Oh, can you please put me over to them?" He did, and they said that they needed a baby face, but it was not because of my work. And I was like, "I can be baby face. I've done it before. I'm a great guy." So Jimmy Havoc was in the room because he was filming his High Spots thing with Excalibur and Dan Barry. So I said, "Hey, Jimmy Havoc, me and you wrestled. Think I suck?" And he's like, "No, mate, I think you're great." And I was like, "Well, Progress is looking to someone. Can you put me over to them?" So he did the same thing. They said the same thing to him about they needed a babyface, whatever. Then Ricky Shane Page gets a message, "Hey, we need a tag team partner for you. Who do you think?" And he took a picture of me sitting beside him, sent it to Progress, and he said, "This will be good. Trust me." And they were like, "Yeah, sure." So it was not a thing that just fell in my lap, but essentially it was.
All right, that's not bad then. It just took a little convincing that you could fill the role.
So don't worry, fans. You're all skeptical about me wrestling for Progress. So was Progress.
I guess highlight of the weekend before we move on to the next topic here.
Highlight of the weekend. I don't know, man. It was such a blur, but such a fun time. And like, I think wrestling for Progress would be the highlight of my weekend, just because it was like a career. It's a good career thing. I was really happy with if you can check out the promo beforehand, I really suggest it, because we found a very fun and jovial way of announcing me as Ricky's tag team partner, essentially saying that we're brothers, and there's like a whole diatribe of our wrestling family tree, and it was a really good time, really funny. The crowd really enjoyed it, and then the environment afterwards stayed just as good. So very happy.
All right, nice. And then I guess wrapping up with, we probably should talk a little bit about CZW and how that went.
Oh yeah, man. You can actually check it's already out on High Spots. That's how fast they are. It's fucking crazy. I got to wrestle. Like, I put a picture out on my Instagram and Twitter just saying, like, I debuted for Progress. I wrestled in front of 3,000 people for Janela Spring Break. And I wrestled for the CZW World Title. Filmed 4 shoot interviews that were over 90 minutes long. It was just an insane weekend, and I'm very proud of the entire thing.
Well, yeah, and you go back a couple months before you had gotten the CZW booking. We were talking about how you were just basically going to take that weekend off.
I planned on it because I just came home from Japan 2 days before I left for Mania weekend.
And instead you did a lot.
Yeah, then it turned into let's work Ethan Page the entire freaking 3 days he's here nonstop.
Okay, so you had previously said that you were actually excited to watch WrestleMania. Did you follow through and watch WrestleMania?
I did, to a point. So here's more of the hecticness. I landed in Toronto. So I flew out Sunday morning. I always leave. I never stay for WrestleMania. I flew into Toronto. I landed at noon, whatever, 11:30. I needed to be at my parents' house for Easter at 1 p.m.
Okay.
Because Orthodox Easter is the week later. However they do it, I don't actually know. But we had plans. So I needed to get home, pick up my wife and kid, and drive straight to my parents' house, which Easter dinner and then WrestleMania. So I went from New Orleans straight to watching WrestleMania, essentially, and I only stayed until, oh man, I don't remember the order of the card. The big one for me was the Ronda match. Same with my wife, big fan. So we stayed past that. What match was after that?
Oh God, the order they went in was so weird. I'm gonna look it up while we're talking here.
Yeah, because I'll only be able to talk about certain amounts of matches.
Let's see. Okay, it went. Let's see. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey was match 7. So after that, there was still the Bludgeon Brothers, Usos, New Day, Undertaker, Cena, the Daniel Bryan match, the Alexa Bliss match, the AJ Styles match, Strowman, and Lesnar Reigns. So you saw half of it.
Yeah, because I didn't see. I saw part of the tag as the tag was on. I was packing my baby to leave. She was just too. It was too late.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, gotta be a dad.
Okay, so the most important thing I wanted to ask was what you thought of Rousey's debut.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah,
She did fantastic.
Yeah, it was outstanding, and also like Steph did not get enough credit for how well she did.
Agreed.
That was shockingly good.
That was one of my favorite matches I've ever seen.
Just
how it was put together, the excitement, how hot the crowd was. Man, they were so into Ronda. How good. That's her first match. Like, imagine, that was so good.
Well, and just the fact that they do treat her so different, that like basically having them willing to have her and Triple H like
in the ring together,
right,
wrestling,
being physical together, it says a lot about how they view her.
Well, I'm glad their investment paid off, because you could hear how the crowd was into her.
And I mean, on a personal level, I'm not the biggest fan of Ronda Rousey in the world, but I would not let that hold me back from saying that she did incredibly well.
Good, I'm glad.
And any other WrestleMania thoughts before we get to a ton of questions?
Yeah. Charlotte and
Asuka.
Yeah, was amazing.
Yeah, that was very good. Also, the Rollins Miz Balor match was very.
Oh good. Yeah, the opener was amazing. That match was unreal.
Yep.
Dude, after that match, I was like, what do they do? Like, what happens next? Because this match is off the charts good.
Also, I'm just gonna throw it out there that I'm just blown away that Daniel Bryan has lost no steps at all in the ring.
Come on, you really thought he would?
I mean, I think it would be realistic to be like, hey, probably is going to be a little bit rusty. I don't think he's going to, just be botching stuff left and right, but I would not be shocked if he, showed a little bit of rust. But no, he looked great. And then, God, this is Thursday, so 2 nights ago when he wrestled AJ Styles, he was amazing then too.
How was the Mania match?
It was good. I mean, they did the long stall with him basically doing a stretcher job to start the match, and it just being Shane for a while. And I lose a little bit of my suspension of disbelief with Shane McMahon having moments of physically dominating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at the same time, but that's just me. Once it got back to a regular tag, it was fine.
Sweet.
All right, so are you ready for a lot of questions?
Hell yeah.
Let's start easy. Ryan Hopkins asked, have you ever faced an opponent as elusive as the Invisible Man?
Ooh, good question. No.
Ronald Two Legs, at You Can Call Me Marin, Will Ethan please do a cartwheel at AIW on 420?
Yes,
Okay.
if I remember.
Did you end up playing anyone on the Kaiju Big Battle show that was from Pod Van Dam?
No, I left before that.
Okay, scrolling here. We've got a lot of stuff, but I also have a lot of stuff cluttering up all my notes here, so I'm just gonna stall while I get back to the spot that I need to... Okay, here we go. Did you conquer the Machine Bull at the Swamp this weekend in NOLA? Notable conquerors of the weekend, Nick Gage and Trent Seven.
I never made it to that bar. I did, however, walk around Bourbon Street and ran into a lot of awesome fans who made me feel way more famous than I should, and a lot of wrestlers. So it was good to see a lot of friends. But no, right. didn't know. No mechanical bull rides.
Okay, that was Andrew Jones at djones360 on Twitter. I'm going to try to do a better job of making sure that we give shout-outs to the people that get questions in.
Heck yeah, if they're going to listen in, we might as well shout them out, say what up.
Michael Smith at kben with 2 N's, 1981, says, explain the difficulties in arranging travel to shows, i.e. determining when you drive versus fly, how you figure out how to get between shows. It seems like logistics can be a nightmare of figuring out who is booked on what shows and who to travel with.
Oh man, I think last week we talked about my travel coming up this weekend. Not this weekend, because this weekend is the massive pay-per-view on powerbomb.tv for Alpha One Wrestling, which we will talk about at the end of the show. But the weekend following, I have a triple shot where I'll be driving to Cleveland. From Cleveland, I'll be driving to Crown Point. From Crown Point, I'll be driving to Nashville. From Nashville, I'll be flying home. So I am not allowed to bring my car anywhere, because if I drove it to Cleveland and then drove it to Crown Point, then drove it to Tennessee, I'd have to drive it all the way home, which is not something I can do, especially my age and how my body feels now. So, yeah, we ended up working it out where I have rides set up to get me to all these places with wrestlers on each of the shows and then flying home. It's hard, but if you want to figure it out, you will find a way to figure it out. And that's usually how and what separates the busy wrestlers from the not-so-busy prima donnas of professional wrestling.
Yeah, I guess kind of to go with that, you know, how often is it that you or someone that you may have traveled to shows with, say, I don't know, Kobe Durst, Space Monkey, you know, the guys that you tend to ride with, that they just tag along to a show that they may not be booked on, like, the following day? Is that something you guys deal with a lot?
Yeah, like, we've had weekends where, like, if there's 4 of us in a car, I'll have all 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I was only able to get Space Monkey on the first show, Shane Saber on the next show, Kobe Durst on the next show. But they'll all come for the whole weekend, and 1 or 2 of them might end up being put on a show last minute, or, you know, it ends up working out that way sometimes. But yeah, there's a lot of that.
Okay. Hey, after this, remind me to let you know there's something on your website you need to fix.
My website?
Well, the Alpha One website.
Oh, please, yeah, thanks. Do that quickly, because people are listening to this and they're going to check, so hopefully it's already fixed.
Yeah, but I'm sure you can by the time that they're listening to this. Included in the listeners is Head Cheese at Blue Ray Mysterio, Blue_Ray Mysterio. What are some of your favorite Alpha One matches?
Oh, my personal ones or of all time?
I would think of all time, like for the promotion's life.
Oh, man. There's so many. Like, literally so many that people haven't seen that breaks my heart. Ricochet versus Josh Alexander. Amazing match. Josh Alexander versus Eddie Kingston in front of 70 people was the best match of 2017. Kobe Durst versus Ricky Shane Page. They had 2 matches that were gimmick matches. They were both absolutely incredible. If we're talking about my personal matches, I've had a match with Johnny Gargano at Alpha One that I absolutely love. Man, there is so much stuff. Kobe Durst versus Heidi Lovelace in a TLC match, which is the night Kobe won the title off of Heidi. It was one of the craziest matches in the history of the company with just crazy ass shit. Check it out. If you can check out a show for Alpha One, check that one out. Just for the main event, it's totally worth it. Yeah, dude, there's tons. There's so many good matches. It's tough.
Okay, you've got, 20 Alpha One shows on Powerbomb.tv, which I feel like everybody that's listening should definitely sign up for the free Powerbomb.tv trial using the promo code Alpha1, and they will get to see that live iPay-per-view this weekend. You've got 20 shows on there. I'm
logging on now so that I can see what shows are there, and I'll pick the best matches from those shows.
Okay, that seems like a good plan, because I feel like, you should definitely, again, go to powerbomb.tv, sign up using the promo code Alpha1, that's ALPHA, the number 1, and maybe watch a show or two before this weekend. Get the feel for the promotion before you watch it live.
Yeah, exactly, and you get 20 days for free. That's pretty incredible. Not too many people are giving that away. I mean, WWE, but...
But in terms of, as someone who was a part of a failed streaming service that did not give away 20 days for free...
Didn't you sign up for something where you're not allowed to talk about them?
Oh, I just can't talk about things that happened inside the business, but, nobody is unaware that there was not a trial period. So, and I didn't sign that. I signed that when I started employment, and they gave me a gentle reminder after a specific episode of this podcast.
Okay. All right, so I finally got the screen to load. Sorry it took so long. Holy crap, there is 20 shows. Right off the bat, one of the best shows on here that you can watch is The Long Halloween. It happened on October 30th, 2016. There is... one of the best matches, Desmond Xavier versus Mike Bailey. That's a match that hasn't happened anywhere else. Mike Bailey is not legally allowed in America, so you're not going to see that match anywhere else. Kobe Durst versus Joey Janela for the Alpha Male title on this one, and my personal favorite match against Josh Alexander, me versus Josh Alexander. This show was crazy good. Definitely check it out for Desmond Xavier versus Mike Bailey. Insanity. So that's a really good one. Then we've got Final Act 7, which was from November 27th of 2016. It has a crazy 4-way with Alex Daniels, Caleb Conley, Darby Allin, and Heidi Lovelace. It's also got a crazy-ass match with, Alessandro Del Bruno versus Donovan Dijak, which is a crazy good match, too. Man, there's a lot of good stuff on here. I can't believe they gave all this shit away for... No wonder I'm not selling DVDs.
Well, and again, I just want to cover real quick, and I want to be very clear that Powerbomb.tv does not pay for sponsorship on the show. I'm just a fan of seeing a service do what I wanted the service I was formerly affiliated with to do. But if you were to sign up today with that promo code Alpha1 for your 20 days free, you would get, the Alpha 1 show. There's another IWA Mid-South show that would be during that period. There is the Independent Wrestling Marathon, which is a Chikara show, Beyond, Freelance, and I can't remember who. And yeah, then another Beyond show. All that stuff would come up just during your free trial. That's a lot of free wrestling. Most importantly, though, for our purposes, Alpha 1, and show me what you got.
Heck yeah. This Sunday, 4 p.m. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it later.
yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Sorry, I got one more match for the Powerbomb
Do it.
subscribers to check out for the Alpha One. It's on One More Day in Paradise, August 21st, 2011. Kevin Steen versus Jimmy Jacobs.
There you go.
Check it out.
All right, we got a lot of questions from our good buddy Wade Buswell. Wade 029. I am going to ask one of them first, and then we'll get to the rest later, just because of the order I have my notes. This one came in early. It was the scariest part for you when you started training?
Oh man. Failing or embarrassing myself in front of other wrestlers, because it's such a shrewd entertainment. Like, it's tough. People are gonna talk shit about you, and not be as supportive as other places of employment would be.
Yeah, and then once you've earned your way with the wrestlers, then you have to go out and do it again with the fans, which
Exactly
is a whole new pool of people who will tell you how much you suck. Like, I sat watching God knows how many hours of wrestling this past weekend. I watched all the damn wrestling. And there were people, like, during Will Ospreay matches on Twitter being like, this dude sucks. And it's like, guys,
yeah, man. I don't know. Like, you should, if you saw the stuff that I read online about me. Whew.
Well, you did kind of torch some guy over WrestleMania weekend for, I think he complained about you being at Progress. And
Oh no, this was Janela's, because then I was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because then he went to Progress too, and I was surprised there, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
I did torch that guy though. I roasted his ass good. Like, oh, you're gonna ruin my WrestleMania weekend. It's like, what? You're ruining wrestling for all the casual fans the other 360 days a year.
Andrew Jones, D Jones 360. I think we already asked one by Andrew. Yeah, we did, but that's fine. Here's Andrew again. What games for the Switch do you think are must play?
Oh, all of them. The Switch is the best, man. Like, I've got right now currently obsessed with FIFA. Mario Kart is always a go-to. Super Smash Brothers is coming out soon. That's a must as soon as it comes out. I'm playing the Marvel Lego. Oh man, there's a bunch. I would say those. Start with those.
Okay.
Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is incredible.
Zelda, I would think.
Oh yeah, Zelda. Zelda was great.
We are back to Wade Buswell. Strap in, everybody. We got a lot of questions from Wade here, which is great. Wade is a character on the show. What were your thoughts before your first match and after your first match?
Oh, I was nervous, and then afterwards, I thought I was the greatest wrestler of all time.
Okay. Let's see. We may have answered some variation of this before, but who do you think in Alpha 1 would fit perfectly into the WWE system? So not necessarily who would you like to see, but with the way they handle their system, who would fit the best?
Mark Wheeler.
Okay. And why?
He's just got that like natural good look, good body. He's super new, so he would take guidance very well, and he wants to make it, so he would do whatever they tell him.
Cool. Favorite WrestleMania match of all time?
The Rock and Austin.
Yeah, I'd say Rock Austin from X7 is my personal favorite.
I would go with that one too.
Who didn't you get to hang out with on Mania weekend that you wanted some time with?
ACH.
Did you see him at all?
Not for a minute. He was supposed to be on my show, but his everyone's flight got delayed or messed up, but his got delayed the worst. And he didn't even end up getting to film, which sucks because he was on like first ballot.
Yeah, and he was great with the Another Way to Get Paid. Like, that was a really good episode. Uh, how cool was it to see Stokely be a part of WWE Access?
Very cool. It was awesome to see him. It was awesome to see Keith Lee be a part of it, especially wrestle one of the best, Chris Hero. It was awesome to see Austin Theory win the WWN title, then defend it for WWE. It was very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock. The Austin Theory title win.
Yeah.
Good stuff for him. I wish people could understand how much talent that guy has for being a kid.
And how nice of a person he is.
Yeah. The first show that I went and covered for Flow Slam, I'll tell a little Austin Theory story, but it was the WrestleMania weekend San Antonio shows last year. Or not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble weekend San Antonio shows last year. And he walked into the building and made the rounds, like, not just to wrestlers, but to me, to anybody that was standing around, shook hands, said hi, introduced himself, like, just the nicest guy. And also it's unfair. It's unfair for anybody to be, like, just that jacked at, like, 19, 20.
He did bodybuilding, I think, when he was, like, 16 years old or something.
It's still just not fair.
Yeah, I know.
With Alpha 1 being an iPay-per-view on Sunday, are the wrestlers at the merch table before and after the show?
Oh, no. Intermission as well. Because Ethan Page refuses to allow the paying customer that has been coming to our shows for the last 8 years to have to change their experience for a new project. So we're still having intermission. But for the viewers, there will be a video that I edited together, not lazy, just the same thing playing for 20 minutes. This is a 20-minute video that I have taken the time to edit together to hype up the 3 main events that will be coming after intermission. So everyone that's watching will be caught up on every storyline, everything, every detail that they need to know going into the final 3 matches. So it's worth sticking around and watching.
All right. Craziest merch table conversation during Mania weekend / did anyone give you anything?
Oh, I have awesome fans from Texas who brought me a Rock action figure, the one that sweats. They also brought me a onesie of The Rock for my little girl, and a Batman animated series coloring book from the 90s in mint condition with some retro pins.
All right.
And conversation-wise, not really, because I actually didn't get to sell any merch until CZW. So.
Okay. Let's see. I got to get back over to the right page here. Let's see. Big Boss Man or the Mountie?
Big Boss Man for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We've got. Who do you see as the next big thing in tag team wrestling?
Ooh. I'm hoping myself and Josh Alexander once we go to the UK together in June.
Okay. Money Inc. or the Brainbusters?
Brainbusters.
Yeah, that's easy. Let's see. How do you tell who is a genuine person in the wrestling business?
Who asked that dumb question?
That would be Wade.
Wade, come on, man. You can't. This is the most bullshit, like, business on earth. Good luck.
Graham at Mr. Bagshaw said, how excited are you to make the final of the Buffet Bracket 2018, and what do you intend on eating to celebrate your victory?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, apparently Two Heels and a Face, the wrestling podcast, has a, let's see, it's the Buffet Bracket, which says from now until WrestleMania Day, we will be hosting a parody bracket involving independent wrestlers we have seen in the Chicagoland area. It is the buffet bracket because wrestling is a buffet, and we embrace the fact that different people like different things. So you were originally against Mike Hartenbauer. You won your vote matchup there. Then you won a vote against Craig Mitchell. Then you won a vote against Samantha Heights. And in the finals, it was you and Delilah Doom.
Did I win?
Voting is still ongoing.
Are you going to vote for me?
I'm voting for you right now.
Damn right. Does it tell you the outcome or no?
I will be able to let you know in a second. Let's see. Click on submit. They wanted all my information. It just says my response has been recorded. So,
guess not.
We'll find out. But congratulations on getting to the finals.
Oh, thank you. How much does it pay?
You would have to ask Two Heels and a Face at Two Heels and a Face on Twitter.
I'm assuming nothing.
But I was very worried when this question came in because I thought it was some sort of like fat wrestler thing. But it wasn't.
Oh, fuck, I'd win that. Yeah, that's what Twitter says, at least.
Oh, you are the worst.
That's such a good response.
Tony Quant, at Top Rope Tony, thoughts on Reigns versus Brock? You said you did not watch that, right?
No, I didn't.
I mean, it's hard to have too many thoughts that haven't been beaten to death. WWE had a window with Roman Reigns. They missed it. Fans then, weren't willing to accept him anymore. Continuing to try and force it is making the fans more resentful, and it's just spiraled out of control to where it's just another one of those things where they're being stubborn, fans are being stubborn, and it's not going to go anywhere. The match would have been okay had it not been so strange, just with the crowd response and then, 85 F5s and everything.
I heard someone was chanting Johnny Wrestling during the match.
I mean, they should be. Did you check out the NXT show by any chance?
No.
Because you really should. The Gargano Ciampa match it's so good.
I believe it. Both of them are incredible.
But it's just as like storytelling in wrestling, it is amazing. And everything else on that show was outstanding too. That was such a good show. Virgil or Stokely Hathaway?
Oh my God, Virgil.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Thoughts on Alberto no showing Impact, and would you book him for Alpha One?
No, I wouldn't book him for Alpha One.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of thoughts. Like, show up for your bookings, and if you don't, then, at least from my perspective, you are being an asshole.
Yeah, just be professional, I guess. I mean, who knows if it's a work? I don't.
Yeah. What was your favorite match from the weekend? You can take that to be your personal favorite match or favorite match you saw.
I didn't see any wrestling. So, favorite match of the weekend would be Ronda's tag match. If it had to be my favorite match, probably the Progress tag match.
Okay. I'd say my personal favorites are... Oh, man. It'd be like... Riddle Ospreay was ridiculous. Gargano Ciampa is the hands-down best match I saw in a weekend of really, really good matches. The Ronda match is up there. And just for pure insanity, the Walter PCO match. Which,
there you go.
The PCO thing, you had talked about that, like, when you wrestled him in Black Label Pro, the amount of, like, crazy shit that dude wanted to do.
Yep.
And he did all of it, and a lot more and stuff
Yeah,
that
because I said no to a lot of stuff he did that on Sunday or
yeah,
whenever it was, Friday at midnight. I
yeah.
said no to a lot of that stuff, and
What
Walter was just like, "Yeah, sure."
which seems about right for Walter, but just PCO's chest was so gross at the end of that match.
Black,
And then he tweeted out a picture the next day and it was just normal.
dude. There was nothing. It was literally like he got slapped in the chest, and it brought all the blood to the front of his chest, and then it just all went away. He's just like, "I'm a robot. I'm gonna heal overnight."
And he did. That guy is crazy. Like legit
Yep.
crazy. MVP for Mania weekend. Are you just gonna say yourself?
Uh, no, because I only had 3 shows. Like MJF had 8 shows. I'm sure David Starr had a bunch of shows. I'm sure Osprey had fucking 12 shows. But my MVP for Mania weekend will be. Oh man, I'll say Janela, just because look what he did.
Yeah, it's Matt Riddle. It's hands down Matt Riddle.
I didn't see anything. I'm also not in the WWN camp anymore. I don't pay attention to any of that. So
Yeah, Riddle's weekend was just ridiculous. I mean,
I'm sure he's incredible.
the Suzuki match at Bloodsport and the Osprey match and Sabre. I mean, he does have the benefit of going against a lineup of incredible people, but he had an awesome like sub 5 minute sprint with Snoop Strikes and Style Battle that was really good. Everything he did was ridiculous this weekend. So yeah, that is all of it. That is all the questions. We got through them
Perfect. There you go.
all. And yeah, we're at 57 minutes. We're getting so good at this hour.
Dude, I'm professional. I'm a professional podcaster now.
So why don't you get in some more plugs? And I'm thinking one in particular, but go ahead and do your thing.
You're thinking about talking about the big iPay-per-view coming up this Sunday, live on Powerbomb.tv. If you use promo code Alpha1, ALPHA, the number 1, you get 20 days for free, so you can actually tune in and watch live.
And tell me what I'd be seeing, though.
It is stacked, man. It's friggin' stacked. There is a huge feud that's coming to head. Kurt Stallion versus current Zero Gravity champion Alex Daniels in a no DQ grudge match for the title. Myself versus one of the hottest guys on the independent coming up, Josh Briggs, and he challenges me for the Southside World title. In the main event, we've got a special guest referee, Stokely Hathaway, who is also the owner of the company and made himself the special guest referee, against, Ricky Shane Page defending his title against MJF. If Ricky Shane Page puts his hands on Stokely Hathaway in any way, shape, or form, he will lose the title and MJF will be awarded the championship. And we've got a strong style battle between Josh Alexander and Simon Grimm, as well as Chris Dickinson taking on Kobe Durst. And we've got a 5-way elimination match for the vacated Outer Limits title. Space Monkey taking on Shane Sabre, taking on Mark Wheeler, taking on BMD, taking on Myron Reed. It's stacked, dude. There's 7 matches. It's going to be so epic. Today I edited the pay-per-view intro video to kind of be like, hey, this is Alpha One. It's a minute long. It's so goddamn good and captures everything that Alpha One is. So right off the bat, 4 o'clock on the dot, you get to enjoy a glimpse of what we've been doing for the last 7 years, and then we go right into it. And I mean, we're treating this like a pay-per-view. I hope you're going to be tuning in on Powerbomb.
I will be.
I'm talking to you.
Oh, yeah, I will be.
All right, cool, because then we can talk about it next week. which will be a big thing because, like I said, I'm trying to run this as close to a pay-per-view as possible. I've put so much work into graphics, videos, pre-prep. There's there's a surprise on the show that I think is so wild, and it cost me a pretty penny, but I think it's going to be awesome when it happens. There's so much stuff. Like, I'm trying to make this as special as possible. Not just like, hey, we run shows and then we put a camera up and go, hey, this is what could it be if you were here. I want the viewers at home to have an experience, and I want people in attendance to have an experience. I do not want this to be taken for granted.
Okay. In addition to that, if people wanted to support you, what should they do?
Oh, yeah. ProWrestlingTees.com/Ethan Page. Or see me at a merch table and support me there at any of my upcoming events. This Saturday, I'll be in Ottawa, Ontario for C4 Wrestling. Then Sunday is the Alpha One show in Hamilton, Ontario. If you can be there live, you should. It's one of the best experiences. Best ticket in the GTA for sure. And the following weekend, I'll be at AIW in Cleveland. I'll be at Black Label Pro in Crown Point. And I will be at Sup Graps Wrestling in the Tennessee, Nashville area. I'm not actually sure where it is. But anyways, follow me on Twitter at @OfficialEgo. I update everyone on my events coming up. And check me out on Instagram at @official_ego.
Okay, I am at Brent Brookhouse on Twitter. You can follow my work at Cage Side Seats. They are the people that make this podcast possible. I write about wrestling there. I write about MMA at Bloody Elbow. Again, at Brent Brookhouse on Twitter. Ethan is at @official_ego on Twitter.
That is incorrect, you asshole.
Well, you know, it is not an underscore. It is just official ego.
That's right. My Instagram has an underscore.
Yeah, I just blew that, but that's all right. We will be back next week to talk Alpha One's first ever live iPay-per-view. Ethan, good luck with all that. I will talk to you next week.
Thank you. See you later.